Hi, Poo here, and today we'll be looking at the Hiya Toys Basic Exquisite GvK Godzilla. As you can see in the initial look at the packaging, you have branding, GvK Godzilla, and the Hiya Toys brand with the initial artwork. Moving on to the side, we have a look at more branding as well as more artwork of the figure. Moving on to the rear of the box, we have more branding as well as some product information and contact information of the figure in Chinese. And on the other side, more branding and a little bit more artwork of the figure itself. There's not really too much to this, just besides its basic look of the figure and a basic information. Let's get into the actual figure itself. Before we get into the articulation of the figure, let's go ahead and take a look and appreciate the attention to detail Hiya Toys took to this figure. The overall detailing and sculpt of this figure is phenomenal. This looks as movie accurate as can be, and there's not much I can say about this besides how much I love it. Taking a closer look at the figure's detail, you can clearly see that Hiya took its time in ensuring that this figure was as screen accurate as possible. From the small minute details of the eyes, arms, legs, and tail, and the overall sculpt of the figure, there's not really much bad I can say about the figure. The figure itself not only looks good, but it feels good. There are no loose joints or any issues with loose parts on this figure. It's sturdy, has great posability, and all else has some bit of weight to it as well. Overall, the look and feel is amazing. Now that we've covered the looks and feel of the figure, let's go ahead and get into the articulation of it. Taking a look at the head and its articulation, we have it on a ball joint. Ball joints are swivels as well, and has somewhat of a hinge joint as well, being able to look up this high and look down this low. The jaw itself can open this wide and close. This is due to it being on a hinge joint. This also allowing the tongue to move freely within the limits of the jaw, like so. Moving on to the neck, it is split into two sections, allowing them freely to move on the neck joint itself, thus creating such gaps in between the neck and the head, as you can see here. And if I turn them to the side, you can see that there's quite visible of a gap between the head and neck here. You are able to hide these gaps with certain angles and poses of the figure to ensure that they aren't seen. Taking a look at the arms go in a full 360 due to the ball joint. There's also a hinge joint at the elbow, allowing it to move this far back and this far forward. You get subtle shoulder movement, being able to bring it in and to bring it out about this far. It's not much, but it's enough. Taking a look at the hands, you're able to move them 360 degrees due to it being on the ball joint, which allows for some nice posing. As you can see here, the torso has limited side-to-side movement as well as up and down movement. That's due to the fact that the sculpt and to the dorsal plates. This doesn't bother me much because I can still get some nice poses out of them without having that being there. Taking a look at the legs, we get a good 360 degree turn. This is due to the ball joint within the leg. And at the knee, we have a nice hinge joint allowing it to move back that far and up that far. And at the leg or the foot, we get a bit of pivot, not much, and then a little bit of side-to-side movement. Very limited. And then we get a bit of the side hip pivot there, as you can see. As we take a look at the tail and how it's structured, it's almost exactly like the SH Monster Arts. Each section is on a ball joint swivel pair, allowing it to have some nice natural and organic movement when taking photos or imposing it for display. As you can clearly see, my figure's still a bit stiff, but once I apply the proper heat to it, it will allow for the joints to move more freely and gain more organic poses as well as more natural poses. All in all, the figure feels great. The tail doesn't feel brittle, nor do I feel like the pieces will fall apart if I try to move them to a certain point. Everything is nice and tight as it should be. Let's go ahead and take a comparison of both the SH and the Hiya. Immediately you can see the differences between the figures and how Hiya kept true to the original CGI model that we had in the movie. You can see the subtle differences in detailing that Hiya took that SH Monster Arts failed to capture when creating this figure and its overall sculpt. I'm not saying that the SH Monster Arts figure is bad, but I must say that the Hiya figure in itself is much more fun to handle, looks great, and feels great. You can clearly see the both profound and subtle differences each figure has from each sculpt. There's not much I can really say about the head sculpts besides how amazing Hiya did with it, how accurate it is to the movie. With all we have seen today, I leave it up to you guys to create your own opinions on the figures. Which one do you prefer, Hiya Toys or SH Monster Arts? This round, in my opinion, goes to Hiya Toys. Can't wait to review more figures in the future. Take it easy, guys.